Did you know there's a quiet, invisible weight you carry every single day? It's not stress from your job or tension in your relationships. It's a subtle heaviness that sits right here, Zen. Master gently places a hand on his chest. It's the feeling of being almost happy but never quite peaceful. For most of my life, working with people in their 50s, 60s, and beyond, I've seen this time and time again. We think we've earned our peace by this stage, but 8 hidden habits, small, unexamined patterns we learned decades ago, are silently draining our joy. Welcome everyone to my channel, Buddha Essence Wisdom. I create these videos to share the timeless teachings of Buddhism in a way that truly matters for our modern, busy lives. If you find clarity or a sense of calm here today, please consider subscribing. I appreciate your support, and it truly encourages me to create more reflections for you. I want you to imagine this for a moment. You've just had a lovely afternoon, but suddenly an old mistake, a decision you made 20 years ago floods your mind. You replay it, you critique it, you feel the sharp sting of regret all over again. Why are we doing this to ourselves? I call this carrying the past like a heavy sack. The event itself was the first arrow, but the relentless overthinking, the self-criticism, that, my friends, is the second arrow, and it's the one we fire directly into our own hearts. Think of it. The moment is over, but your mind refuses to let the suffering go. The Buddha taught us that while we can't always stop the first arrow of life, the second is truly optional. Releasing it is the first step toward genuine freedom, and that's exactly what we need to learn to do. And while we're on the subject of self-inflicted pain, let's talk about the next hidden habit that silently wears us down, especially as we get older and our energy is more precious, saying yes when your heart is screaming no. Have you ever experienced that special kind of exhaustion? It's not the physical kind you get after a long hike. It's the deep soul weariness that comes from betraying yourself. You agree to host another holiday dinner even though you're overwhelmed. You smile and nod to a friend's request for help, even though you were looking forward to quiet time. Why do we do this? And it's often rooted in the fear of disappointing others, the fear of conflict, or the simple desire to be liked. We mistake people-pleasing for kindness, but I assure you from a Buddhist perspective, this is a slow form of self-abandonment. Think about it. Every time you ignore your own needs to make someone else comfortable, you slowly forget what your own boundaries feel like. Boundaries are not walls built out of anger. They are acts of compassion built to protect your inner life. They say, I care about you, but I also care about me. As we mature, we must recognize that suffering often arises not from what others demand, but from what we allow. True happiness grows when you choose honesty gently and courageously over seeking constant approval. This brings me directly to a related habit I've seen paralyze so many kind-hearted people, carrying other people's emotions as your own. We often call this being empathetic, but when you absorb a friend's anxiety or a loved one's frustration until it settles in your own body like a heavy stone, you are practicing emotional absorption, not true compassion. You become an emotional sponge. I recall a man, a beautiful soul named Thomas, who came to me feeling completely burned out. He confessed that he couldn't have a conversation with his son without taking on his son's depression, leaving Thomas himself unable to sleep for days. I had to teach Thomas a gentle, powerful truth. You can care deeply for the people you love without becoming them. You can listen without absorbing. Their fear is not your fear. Their anger is not your anger. We call this non-identification. It is about creating spaciousness, a healthy separation between what belongs to you and what must be allowed to pass. You hold the lantern of your awareness to offer light, but you do not set yourself on fire for their darkness. When you stop absorbing everyone else's storms, your own inner sky becomes clear, and your presence, your ability to truly help, becomes much stronger. As we navigate life, especially in our later years, there's a deep, often unconscious need that arises. It's the need for everything to simply stay put. This leads us to our third hidden habit, seeking permanent control in a changing world. I see this frequently with folks who have built successful lives. You've worked hard to create stability in your finances, your routines, your health. And now you try to micromanage everything and everyone around you, your children's choices, the political landscape, even the weather. Why? Because we have a deep underlying fear of impermanence, a nikka the Buddha taught. We resist the foundational law of the universe. Everything changes. I recall a conversation with a woman who was constantly anxious because her retirement investments were volatile. I asked her, "Can you control the market, or can you only control your reaction to the market?" When you push against the reality of change, you generate continuous internal tension. The true sense of peace doesn't come from having a firm grip on everything. That's simply impossible. Peace comes from the radical acceptance that life is a flow, a river. When you try to anchor the river, you simply create friction and turbulence in your own heart. Learning to loosen your grip to trust the flow is where true serenity lies. And speaking of a desire for things to be easy, this leads directly to a very modern trap, particularly insidious in a society focused on convenience, mistaking comfort for fulfillment. Now, don't misunderstand me. There is nothing wrong with being comfortable. But if your life becomes a continuous avoidance of any form of mental, emotional, or physical challenge, you fall into a state of spiritual stagnation. Think of it as mental laziness. We put off meditation because it's too hard to sit still. We avoid that difficult conversation because it's uncomfortable. We stay on the couch instead of moving our bodies because it's easier. But where does real growth happen? It happens in the challenges. It happens when you lean into the mild discomfort of learning something new or having an honest conversation. Fulfillment, that deep resonant joy, is the reward for engaging with life fully, difficulties and all. If you choose the path of least resistance every single time, your world shrinks, and the joy of mastery of growth is lost. True contentment is found not in endless ease, but in the strength and clarity that comes from embracing the path. Let us now turn our attention to the habit that defines much of modern life. A habit that is particularly painful because it robs us of the very life we are trying to live, rushing through your days without being present. If I were to ask you, what did you truly notice yesterday? Could you answer? Many of us, especially those of us who spent decades climbing careers and raising families, operate at warp speed. We wake up and the mind is already racing ahead to the to-do list. We eat our lunch while checking our phone. We talk to our partner while planning our reply. Modern society tells us that busyness equals importance. If your calendar is packed, you must be meaningful, right? But this is a beautiful, insidious lie. This frantic pace gives you the illusion of importance, but it quietly disconnects you from joy. You move faster, yet you feel emptier. The minutes blur together until your entire life feels like a fast-forwarded movie you barely remember watching. The Buddhist teaching here is profound. Speed is not the problem, unconsciousness is. I want you to try this simple experiment today. When you sip your next cup of coffee, only sip the coffee. Don't look at your phone. Don't think about the evening. Feel the warmth of the mug. Notice the aroma, taste the flavor. That is what it means to be present. It's the color and texture that mindfulness brings back into a blurry, rushed day. Happiness is not hidden in your future achievements. It is right here in the sound of your own footsteps, in the feeling of your breath rising and falling. You deserve a life you can actually feel, not just one you rush through and forget. And finally, let us address the quietest, most destructive voice of all, the one we encounter every minute of every day. Speaking harshly to yourself. There is a voice inside you that no one else can hear. It comments on everything. For too many of us, this voice is not a gentle guide. It is a relentless critic. It tells you that you are not doing enough. It points out every flaw. It replays your mistakes on a loop with a critical commentary you would never, ever dare speak to a close friend. Over time, you begin to mistake this harsh monologue for the truth, for your very identity. But I want to share a piece of wisdom from the Buddha. What you think you become. When your inner world is fed only with criticism, your heart begins to shrink. You walk with doubt and you treat yourself like an enemy instead of a companion. Harsh self-talk pretends to motivate you, but in reality it creates fear, not growth. Have you ever seen a flower bloom under constant judgment? No. People in your own inner self grow under warmth. Gentle self-talk is not weakness, it is the ultimate wisdom. It sounds like this: I am learning. I made a mistake, but I can grow from it. I deserve patience even from myself. When you replace the harsh critique with this gentle acceptance, your entire nervous system relaxes and your true confidence returns. My dear friends, we have journeyed through 6 of the quietest thieves of our joy. We have talked about the relentless grip of the past, the slow death of self-abandonment through saying yes, the exhaustion of carrying other people's storms, the futility of seeking perfect control, the trap of prioritizing comfort over growth, and the crushing weight of harsh self-talk. Now we approach the final two habits, and I believe these are perhaps the most insidious because they are deeply rooted in our modern culture's obsession with achievement and progress. I have seen this habit cripple the minds of highly successful people. Those who have achieved everything the world deems worthy wealth, status, recognition. Yet they sit before me deeply unhappy. Why? Because they operate from a core belief I call the happiness deferred equation. It goes like this: happiness equals success, but success is always the next thing. I will be happy when I secure that promotion. I will be happy when I finally retire. I will be happy when my health problems are all cleared up. I will be happy when my children are settled. This is a profound, subtle trick of the ego, the continuous pushing of the start button on life. The ego whispers that the reward, the rest, the peace is just around the corner. But when you finally reach that corner, what do you find? The goalposts have simply moved. The mind immediately finds a new problem, a new ambition, a new reason to keep happiness at arm's length. I remember a conversation with a gentleman, a retired CEO named Arthur. Arthur had spent 40 years building an empire. When he finally retired at 65, he expected a wave of euphoria. Instead, he felt a crushing emptiness. He realized he had spent his entire life viewing the path, the daily interactions, the slow process of building the present moment as merely an inconvenient means to an end. He was so busy getting to retirement, he forgot to live the journey. The great Buddhist teaching on this is radical and simple. The path is the destination. There is no magic future moment where the clouds part and perfect peace descends. Peace is not something you find at the end. It is something you cultivate in every step along the way. Ask yourself this: if you were told you had only 1 year left to live, would you still defer your happiness? Of course not. You would try to feel the joy and gratitude in every sunset, every meal, every conversation. That sense of urgency, that commitment to the present, is the wisdom we must bring to every year of our lives. The practice is simple: savor the effort. Find the beauty in the process of preparing a meal, in the quiet focus of a task, in the simple routine of your morning. When you commit to being fully present on the path, the destination becomes less important and life suddenly is happening now. We are all here on this channel because we seek to improve, to grow, to be wiser. But there is a silent saboteur that attacks us the moment we stumble, the expectation of perfection. This habit is particularly strong in the later decades of life because we feel we should know better by now. We believe we should be masters of our emotions, our habits, our minds. We fall into old patterns, we lose our temper, we revert to an old addiction, we speak without kindness, and the inner critic returns with a vengeance, whispering, "You haven't changed at all. All that spiritual work was useless. You failed." This belief that growth must be a straight upward, unbroken line is the enemy of genuine self-compassion. The pursuit of perfection is an impossible standard born directly from the judging ego. When you demand perfection, you deny the fundamental reality of being human. We are beings of constant becoming, not final achievement. My teacher used to tell me a story about a student who was frustrated with his meditation practice. He said, "Master, I try to meditate for an hour, but after 5 minutes my mind is completely lost in thoughts. I keep failing." The master simply replied, "Ah, but my son, you are not failing. You are succeeding in recognizing when you are lost. Every time you gently bring your attention back, you are not erasing a mistake. You are performing an act of spiritual strength. You are practicing resilience." That is the key, my friends. Wisdom is not about achieving perfection. It is about achieving resilience. It is about how quickly and how gently you pick yourself up when you inevitably stumble. What does gentle self-talk look like when you fail? It doesn't sound like "I'm an idiot, I ruined everything." It sounds like, an old pattern arose. That is understandable. Let me take a deep breath, learn the lesson, and begin again right now. This gentle acceptance, this willingness to be a beginner every single day is the soft, fertile ground where true, lasting change can take root. If you are harsh, the ground is frozen and nothing can grow. If you are kind, the seed of wisdom sprouts again and again. My dear Nguyen Dai and all of you watching, when we look back at these 8 hidden habits, we realize something profound. We have been trying to earn peace through pressure. We have been trying to find freedom through control. We have been trying to achieve happiness through self-criticism. But this journey, this wisdom of the quiet mind reveals the simple truth. Happiness does not arrive through tension. It grows only in the spaciousness created by awareness. Stop carrying the past. Let the arrow fall. Start honoring your heart. Let the true no be heard. Stop carrying the weight of others. Let their storms pass you by. Stop demanding control. Let the river flow. Start embracing challenge. Let growth be your comfort. Stop the inner attack. Let kindness be your inner voice. Stop deferring joy. Let the path be the destination. Stop seeking perfection. Let resilience be your guide. These habits are not enemies to be fought. They are simply shadows to be illuminated. They will not dissolve overnight. They will soften slowly, gently the moment you commit to noticing them. Take a moment now. Place your hand on your heart. Feel the rhythm of your life. This moment right here, right now, is where your true life is happening. This is where your power lies. You deserve a softer life. One where your heart is not always bracing against an unseen attack, where your mind is not always fighting yesterday's battles or tomorrow's fears, where your spirit is allowed to simply be. I thank you for joining me on Buddha Essence Wisdom today. If this deep reflection has brought you a sense of calm or clarity, please subscribe to the channel. Your support is invaluable and encourages me deeply in this work. Let this be the beginning of a truly peaceful, resilient, and honest chapter in your journey.